So let's talk about the actual structure of the essay. We know that it is going to have at least 3 parts and hopefully even 4, just really depending on the amount of room that you are going to give yourself, how big you're going to write, stuff like that. So we know that the essay has 3 to 4 parts. We've got the intro. We've got your body paragraph number 1, your body paragraph number 2, and then a conclusion. How are you going to wrap up everything that you have just talked about? So we're going to go through each one of these individually, just so you can get an idea of what each one looks like and how you should set it up. All right, so the first thing that we are going to talk about is the lovely introduction. Okay, this should be considered a separate part from the rest of your essay because you are going to set us up, right? You are going to tell me exactly what you know and how you know it. A standard introduction is going to include a hook. You're going to then explain the issue at hand. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about? Let's say what and why. And then ultimately your thesis statement, right? So your thesis statement is what you are going to prove and then how you're going to do that, right? So we're going to have 2 reasons, okay? So your 2 reasons each make up a body paragraph. So when I say write your 2 reasons and then expand on that in your body paragraph, these help you set up what you're going to talk about. So if you say, this is my thesis statement and this is why I think this, and then give me your 2 reasons, then later in your body paragraph you say, okay, let me explain reason number 1 and then let me explain reason number 2. If you can't explain either one of your reasons, it's probably not strong enough and you need to reevaluate what it is that you're trying to prove or how you're trying to prove it. Okay, so let us talk about the hook. Okay, so it's something interesting. Usually it's going to be along the lines of a quote, a fact, a lesson, or a moral for our essay. Obviously, we can't research anything, so unless you are amazing, you're probably not going to be able to enter a fact that you know right off the top of your head, especially when it comes to technology. You can use that little box, but quite frankly, I didn't talk about it because I don't really want you to worry about it. You can ignore that box from the beginning of the page. So you can either go with a quote, or what I would do is set up a scene, right? So I would say something like, you look up from working hard on your essay and you notice that everyone in the room is on their cell phone, listening to music, or otherwise distracted. All right, so this is my hook. I have set up a scene for you to have in your head as you think about the rest of your story. So right now, you need to take a minute and you need to pause and start writing a hook. Don't copy mine. You need to write your own. Okay, so you have set up your scene, right? You have you're leading the reader into what you're going to talk about, right? So I'm taking the approach that technology is a distraction. So I need to somehow tie that into what the prompt is, right? And why new technology is so important to teenagers. Okay, so My hook is you look up from working hard on your essay and realize that everyone is on their cell phone, listening to music, or otherwise completely distracted. And then explain the issue, right? Why are we talking about what we were talking about? Today, teenagers, and you can expand this to, if you're feeling a little bit attacked right now because you are a teenager, you can expand this to the entire world because it's true, but I'm going to stick with teenagers since that's what the prompt is asking me to write about. Today, teenagers are so, I'm going to use a big word here, engrossed, you can look it up later, in their technology. They are too distracted to even complete a simple assignment. And I sound very, very biased right now because I am a teacher, but I maintain my point, right? So this is me explaining the issue. What are we talking about? We're talking about teenagers and technology. This is the problem that I have, is that teenagers are too distracted by a simple assignment. What I have yet to answer is why teenagers think that new technology is so important. So that is where my thesis statement comes in, right? So this is the point that you are trying to prove. You can go very basic. Technology is so important. Oh, you know what? I missed one. New technology is so important to teenagers because, right? And this is where we insert our two reasons. But right now, I want you to take a minute and pause and go ahead and write your issue, right? Explain what the problem is and why it's a problem. All right, so you have explained your issue. Now we need to write our thesis statement. So we have the basis of it, right? New technology is so important to teenagers because, and we know for a fact that we have got to enter two reasons why new technology is so important to teenagers. This is where we flip back to our brainstorming session. So we're going to go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so we know what some ideas of new technology, right? We know we talked about transportation, video games, and cell phones. So we got to talk about why it is so important, okay? Probably, wait, did we talk about the other one? Probably, here we go. Probably because I would use the example of social status. That's what we're going to go for here. Alright, so I'm going to use social status and new entertainment. Those are the two reasons why I'm going to use for why new technology is so important. So let's go back. Alright, so new technology is so important to new technology is so important to teenagers because it provides a sense of, I'm going to say, better social status and is always a constant source of new entertainment. Now remember, my spin is bad. So I'm going to take a bad spin on social studies and new entertainment. You don't have to do that, but write about whatever you think is important. So obviously, to me, I think that technology is a huge distraction to teenagers in the classroom. So that's the stance I'm going to take. You don't have to take this stance. You can take the stance that technology is beneficial because of the opportunities it gives to our education and communication, right? So it's up to you, whatever you feel like is more important. Okay, so let's go back. Let's talk about, so we have our two reasons, right? We have a better social status, and a constant source of new entertainment. And we already came up with, if we flip back here, a bunch of different reasons to support that statement. All right, a bunch of different examples. All right, so take a minute, make sure you pause, write your thesis statement.